Do you have decision fatigue when it comes to choosing between the Digitakt 2 and the Syntakt? Are you overwhelmed by endless review videos trying to weigh up every little detail? Do you just want an honest opinion from someone who's actually used both of these machines extensively to craft records, program live sets, and even create mastery courses on both machines? I know these instruments like the back of my hand. I know their weak points, I know what they excel at, and the answer isn't always what you think. So in this video, I'm going to break down the key differences between the Digitakt 2 and the Syntakt, not just in terms of features, but how they actually feel to use in real world situations, whether you're a live performer, studio producer, or just looking for your next groove box. I'll help you to figure out which one fits your needs. For me, this wasn't even a choice at first. I already had a Digitakt Mac 1 before the Syntakt even existed, but when the Syntakt dropped, I got it for my mastery course, so I had to battle test it in my rig, write records with it, and even put it through real world scenarios. Now, I'll be honest, there were times I almost sold the Syntakt. I was tempted to replace it with something like the Erica Sims Percons, and you might be asking why. Because synthesis groove boxes take effort. You have to program something good, whereas sampling groove boxes, it's immediate. Good samples will get you very, very far, and with the Digitakt 2, you can bend and twist samples into sonic territories you'd normally expect from a synthesis-based groove box. Also, you're probably wondering, why did I want to swap it out for the Erica Sims Percons? That is also a synthesis machine, because what happens is you get bogged down with the sound of a particular synthesis instrument, and you will always wonder if the grass is greener on the other side. I think what I might do in the future is I might actually try and acquire a Percons alongside the Syntakt, because each of these machines have their own character, and that is why some studios tend to build up a collection of analog and digital synthesizers. Let's get into the real differences, not just the technical specifications. So we're going to start with the sound engines and versatility. The biggest difference here is that the Syntakt is a full synthesis-based groove box with a mix of digital and analog machines, while the Digitakt 2 is all about sampling. Now, you might think that means the Syntakt is more powerful, but that's not necessarily true. So with the Digitakt 2, the sound you get is all about what you put into it. Want an 808, load high quality 808 samples into the Digitakt 2 and you're there. Need lo-fi textures, run some crunchy field recordings through it. On the other hand, the Syntakt gives you deep synthesis tools, but that also means you need to put in the time to sculpt the sound yourself. Both machines have solid effects engines, but their approach is different. Syntakt has an analog master effects drive that reacts beautifully to mix dynamics, while the Digitakt 2 has powerful bit crushing, filtering, and comb filtering options that can twist samples into something completely new. Syntakt's analog drive on the master effects is a live performance powerhouse. It responds dynamically to mutes, so when you remove a kick, the distortion breathes new life into the percussion, then it slams back into full force when you bring the kick back. An amazing trick for dynamic live sets. Bear in mind, the Digitakt 2 does have a master overdrive, which I absolutely love. It is a digital overdrive, but I kind of like the character of it. It's very different from the Syntakt's analog drive. Both Digitakt 2 and Syntakt are fully capable of live performance and studio production, but how they handle that role is slightly different. Syntakt wins when it comes to live sound design automation. You can hook up a MIDI controller to control the mod wheel and breath controller parameters, allowing you to shape core synthesis parameters, filters, effects, and LFOs in real time. This can be customized per pattern, adding deep performance flexibility. The Digitakt 2 also has this capability, but Syntakt has the edge when it comes to adjusting core synthesis parameters. Syntakt also functions as a full synthesizer. You can play its synth machines live with a MIDI keyboard while tweaking the parameters, making it feel more expressive. Digitakt 2 can be turned into a synth using single cycle waveforms, which I cover in my mastery course, but it lacks features like FM synthesis, oscillator tuning, and deep machine shaping that is easily accessible straight on the machine parameters on the Syntakt. At the end of the day, both machines can be used for live performance, but the choice depends on how you like to perform. If you love real-time sound design and tweaking, Syntakt has the edge here with the synthesis machines. If you need more flexibility for triggering samples, loops, and external gear, Digitakt might be the better fit. So let's talk about genres next. So if you make deep modular-esque techno sequences, melodic techno, sci-fi, electro, and IDM, then the Syntakt kind of shines in this area with its evolving synth patches and layered drum synthesis. You can get quite weird and quite glitchy. With classic house, deep house, tech house, the Digitakt 2 wins here. You want sampled 808s, 909s, vocal cuts, and percussion loops. If you're making jungle, bass music, D&B, and dubstep, well, the Digitakt 2 is the better choice, I feel, because then you've got options to add in breakbeats, vocals, and resampling techniques, which makes it essential for those types of genres. What about if you're making experimental glitch, Aphex Twin style sound design? Then the Syntakt is your playground. It excels in unique sound generation. What about if you want a hybrid workflow? Then you can use the Digitakt 2 for drums and samples, while the Syntakt generates evolving synth textures and glitchy sound design. What if you can't afford both machines? Well, what you could do is, if you are kind of aiming more towards the Syntakt and you want those sound designy, glitchy synthesis elements, you could always record it into a DAW like Ableton, or use Overbridge Live along with Ableton, and then add all of the organic drum loops and textures and vocal samples, just so you've got a sampler alongside the Syntakt to expand its capabilities. If I could only pick one machine to take to a desert island, it would be the Digitakt 2. Why? Because it's just so flexible. If I load it up with a great sample library, I can make absolutely anything on it. Whether I need drums, synths, textures, or loops, it can handle all. For me, Syntakt is the perfect companion to the Digitakt 2, like another member of the band, but Digitakt does the heavy lifting. That's just my personal take. For someone else, the Syntakt might be their desert island pick, especially if they love deep sound design, but for my workflow, my music, and my experience with these machines, Digitakt 2 holds a special place in my heart. Maybe that's also because I've spent more time with it, but either way, it's my go-to machine. Whichever one you choose, you'll want to master it fast. That's why I made full mastery courses for both machines. If you pick Digitakt 2, my course will walk you through everything from setup to advanced workflows. If you go with the Syntakt, I'll help you push it beyond stock sounds and help you get the most out of its hidden power. So check the links in the video description if you want to fast track your learning. Let me know which one you're leaning towards in the comments. I'll help answer any questions you have. And if you want to see more Elektron deep dives, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.